Barry, what are you saying? Cynthia stammered, shocked by her husband's terrible words. Another woman? It can't be true. Look at me. She approached her husband, placing her hands on his shoulder, trying to make eye contact. Barry clearly resisted. He roughly pushed his wife away, stepping back towards the window and freezing in place. After a moment, Barry finally spoke. Cynthia, believe me, I don't want to have a big confrontation right now. Let's handle this like adults and peacefully go our separate ways. And pretend our marriage had never happened? Tears flowed from Cynthia's eyes, her body shaking nervously and her head spinning. Perhaps her blood pressure had spiked, but she took a few deep breaths to calm down. I don't want to end up in hospital because of my husband's cheating. No, I won't allow that to happen right now, she thought. Oh my God, Cynthia, are you going to guilt trip me like this? Barry glared at his wife. Barry, when did you become so cruel and heartless? Cynthia chuckled bitterly. Have you forgotten all the good I did for our family in the past? And how I supported your health and morale after the accident? Don't you remember? Is that how you show your gratitude? We've been through so much together, Barry. Is any other woman worth sacrificing our happy years for? And what about the children? How can I explain to our sons that their father fell in love with another woman and left them? Cynthia! Barry raised his voice, attempting to interrupt Cynthia's hysterics. Why are you saying this? Do you want pity? Well, okay, you're a sweetheart, you're perfect and amazing, while your husband is the ultimate traitor and scumbag. Does that make you feel better? You can talk all you want. But let's face the truth. Our marriage has reached a deadlock. I believe you've noticed it too. Lately it's all about the kids. That's all we talk about during family dinners. I mean, I love the boys with all my heart, but it's just too much. Haven't I tried to get your attention, Barry? Didn't I try to have a conversation with you over a cup of tea? Didn't I make efforts to change things? The woman's indignation knew no bounds. And let me remind you, what was the answer you always gave? What did you always refer to? Work, of course, and important meetings and negotiations. And you always convinced me that there were no problems between us. How was I supposed to fix it, Barry? Tell me. Cynthia, you're forcing me to speak honestly, the man said in an uncertain tone. Seeing his wife's silent nod, he continued with a hint of satisfaction. It seemed that humiliating the woman he once loved brought him great pleasure. Well, you've asked for it. Do you know the difference between you and Mackenzie? Are you sure that you want to hear it? Fine, I'll answer. Youth and freshness. And let me clarify something right away. She's only 5 years younger than you, so it's not a huge difference. Yes, some people are naturally blessed with exquisite looks, but they're rare. Most of the time, attractiveness is acquired, which doesn't come without some external intervention. And no, I'm not talking about surgical operations, numerous Botox injections and the like. I don't approve of those. Everything should be done in moderation. But visiting a cosmetology salon, various skincare procedures, sports, massages, tanning, pleasant perfume, and sexy clothes, that's the foundation. Inner peace and good qualities as a human being are important undoubtedly, but in addition to those, everything I just mentioned should also be present. And energy. You know, there are women who make you feel like a pathetic weakling when you're with them. Like you won't last. It's awful. You don't want to do anything for them. In a relationship with them, you don't invest at all because you realise it's a dead end. And then there are other women who give you incredible emotions and impressions just by being around them. With them, you want to soar. There's an intense energy and motivation. You constantly want to try your best, showcasing your finest masculine qualities." Barry's eyes shone brighter than usual as he made this revelation. To Cynthia's dismay, it was clear that he was indeed in love. "But you once felt something like that for me too, didn't you?" Cynthia barely managed to speak. It was incredibly difficult for her to listen to her husband's statements. Each word seemed to tear her heart into small pieces. I mean, all this novelty effect is unfortunately short-lived. If your mistress has gone through the same journey— "Those are stupid excuses," Barry replied, dissatisfied. "Instead of admitting your mistakes in our marriage, you completely blame others. With such thinking, life will be difficult for you." The man smiled, looking at his wristwatch. "Well, it no longer concerns me. You wanted an honest and open conversation, and you got it. My conscience is clear now, and I have no intention of hiding anything anymore. So now, allow me to leave. Someone is waiting for me." "Is it so easy for you to go to her?" Cynthia seemed to still not believe that everything that was happening was not a silly prank but a cruel reality. "Will you really live there now?" "For now, yes. And then we'll see. You know, our divorce process could be prolonged due to having underage children and jointly acquired property. Of course, I would like everything to be resolved quickly and everyone to go their own way with a clear conscience. But I understand that it's not possible, alas. We need to be patient and wait. Oh, and by the way, I want to clarify that we will divide the property according to all the rules. I won't leave you and my children without anything, but I won't forget about myself either. I won't be heroic and start a new life with just a hypothetical penny in my pocket. That's not my story. You'll have to remember, Cynthia, what it's like to work for a living. It seems you've only gotten used to taking care of the house and children." "You never cease to amaze me, Barry," Cynthia dryly replied, gathering all her strength. "Good luck in your new adventure. Please don't come back here without a good reason. And the children? I will tell them everything myself. It's a pity, of course, that you didn't find the strength to do it yourself. But it's okay, I'll manage on my own. I got used to it. That's what I've always loved about you, Cynthia, your independence." The man laughed and, casting a slightly guilty glance at his still legal spouse, left the apartment. Closing the door behind Barry and watching him from the window, Cynthia made her way to the bedroom and, firmly closing the door behind her, lay down on the bed. Absolute silence reigned. Only the ticking of the clocks, given to them on their wedding day, disturbed it. Cynthia usually loved that sound. It was as if it calmed her and created a special coziness in the room. And the fact that the clocks were given on such a wonderful day was very touching, a memory for a lifetime. Amazingly, despite being quite simple, these clocks had worked flawlessly for all 13 years of their marriage. And the batteries, by the way, were rarely changed by the spouses. "These are some miracles, Barry," Cynthia said it once with a smile on her face. "It feels like they're eternal." The man gently embraced his wife. "They are just as strong and resilient as our union. You'll see. They will last until our wedding anniversary." Now, remembering her husband's words, Cynthia felt desperation. Maybe I should get up from the bed, take the clocks off the wall and throw them as far away as possible. What use do they have now except for reopening the wound in my heart? Eternal clocks, eternal feelings. It's only a fairy tale for trustful adults. The woman was about to carry out her plan when she suddenly hesitated. Will it change anything now? No. It's a very foolish act. Besides, I can't bring myself to do it. It hurts. Oh, how it hurts. I wish I could fall asleep right now, Cynthia thought to herself. Yes, I would like to sleep so deeply that I wouldn't hear or feel anything. Otherwise, it seems I won't be able to cope with this pain and longing. Maybe I should take a sleeping pill. Why not? The neurologist prescribed them for sleep problems when I was being examined. Maybe I should take much more than the recommended dose. No one will notice the loss, probably. Who needs me anyway? But at least I won't suffer. Life without Barry is not joyful for me." A tear rolling down the woman's cheek instantly brought her back to reality. "But what about my boys? I can't leave them alone, can I? No, it's nonsense. My children are everything to me. I will endure everything for their happiness and well-being. And as for Barry, God will judge him. What else can I say?" Thinking about the children, Cynthia looked at the clock. "Okay, it's 2:00. I need to get up from the bed immediately and start getting ready." With all these love experiences and sufferings, she had forgotten that it was time to pick up her younger son from daycare and her older son from school. Luckily, these institutions were nearby. She would make it. In just 10 minutes, Cynthia was already standing in the hallway in front of the mirror, trying to fix herself up. However, the reflection left much to be desired. She had looked happy and relaxed in the morning, but now tears filled her eyes as she gazed at her own image. Her face had a stare of silent sorrow, and her shoulders slumped. "What a beauty!" Cynthia laughed hysterically. "Well, I'll cover up my hair with a hat, and my swollen eyes with glasses. It's sunny outside today, so no one will be surprised." Finally, Cynthia left the apartment and, taking a deep breath of fresh air, walked briskly to pick up the children. She could have used the car, but she didn't want to risk it. In her current state of mood, driving was extremely dangerous. Driving requires attention and concentration, and walking might actually help her recover faster. "Mum, why didn't you drive today?" asked Mark, the eldest son, as they entered the apartment. "Come inside quickly," Cynthia urged the children. "Don't stand in the hallway." "Is Daddy home?" asked Johnny, the youngest son, with curiosity. "First, go and wash your hands and change your clothes," the woman sternly ordered, wanting to divert the children's attention. "We'll talk about everything at dinner." Reluctantly, the sons began to do their tasks, and Cynthia, entering the kitchen, froze in bewilderment. What am I going to feed the kids if I haven't cooked anything all day? The meat, which she had taken out to defrost early in the morning, waited obediently for its turn. The vegetables nearby were also a reminder of the grand plans for dinner. "No way," Cynthia said, pushing the groceries away. "I don't have time or strength for them right now. Maybe I'll have time to cook them tomorrow, but for tonight, well, we'll just have to make do with the bare minimum. What do I have in the pantry?" The woman opened the cupboard. "Okay, today we're having pasta. That's it." Quickly setting the table, Cynthia excitedly invited the children to dinner. Inside, she was literally filled with tension. She prayed for one thing. Please let the boys not start asking about their father right away. Please let me find a way to avoid it and not arouse unnecessary suspicion. "Mum," Mark seemed determined. "You still haven't told me why we didn't take the car. Did it break down?" "Yes," Cynthia said with a smile. "That's right, son. It broke down. It happened unexpectedly, but it's okay. We'll get it fixed. And it's good for us to walk for a while. We'll be healthier. The weather outside is nice, warm enough and calm." "It's more comfortable with the car," the boy insisted. "Today I got an A. Do you want me to tell you about it?" said another son. "Yes, we'll listen attentively." The woman smiled again, but her chest ached with treachery. It was so bitter for her to look at her children, to listen to their fascinating and carefree stories, and to realize that everything would soon change. Soon, these boys, who held their father in such high regard, would be deprived of the opportunity to see him regularly. And, more importantly, how could she explain it to them? How could she avoid traumatizing their fragile young minds? Maybe she should ask a psychologist. An expert could guide her on what to do in this situation. That was probably the most sensible thought she had all day. "Mum, did you hear?" Mark brought Cynthia out of her sad reflections. "Huh?" The woman struggled to return to reality. "Of course I heard everything. Well done, my son. I'm proud of you." "Mum, are you feeling any pain today?" Johnny, a caring and sensitive boy, interjected. Me? Cynthia's heart raced faster than usual. Such a trivial question, yet it held so much warmth and care. If only she could discuss such matters with her children. No, I'm fine. It's true that my head hurts a little, but it's nothing to worry about, Johnny. It happens to adults often when the weather changes, or for some other reason. Are you finished? Now, go to your room and rest. Mark, do you have a lot of homework for tomorrow? No? Good. Then we'll do it later. With difficulty, Cynthia managed to get the children out of the kitchen. Then she carefully closed the door from the inside and started tidying up. Absolute silence surrounded her. She glanced at the wall clock and smiled sadly. Usually around this time, Barry would come home tired, sometimes overly busy and irritable, but so dear. Oh, how Cynthia loved that feeling when her husband, quietly and stealthily, using his keys to open the front door, would tiptoe into the kitchen and embrace her from behind while she stood by the stove. I missed you, the man used to whisper in her ear. And I missed you more, she always replied gently. In reality, Cynthia was always truly proud of her marriage. In this complex and unstable world, to meet the right person, create a loving union with them, overcome numerous obstacles along the way, and not lose the bright feelings. It's a great rarity and happiness. They met 15 years ago. Their meeting was quite ordinary. As it turned out, Barry and Cynthia had mutual friends who, without even realizing it, facilitated their acquaintance. One warm July day, during a friend's birthday party, a true miracle happened. Barry, who was always shy, suddenly became bolder and more mature when he saw the smart and beautiful Cynthia. He was surprised, thinking that with common friends, he should have met her earlier. The well-mannered, kind and pleasant girl won his heart at first sight. Late in the evening, bidding farewell, he promised firmly that he would win her favour. She smiled and didn't take the cavalier's words seriously, and went home without suspecting how soon their lives would unfold. Barry began to court Cynthia in a gorgeous way, constantly organising surprises with his own hands, giving her lovely gifts, and even serenading under her window. The girl, amazed by such warm, sincere and caring attention, soon surrendered and allowed herself to finally become the happiest. Their friends couldn't hide their joy and pride in the couple. After all, not many are ready for such seriousness at such a young age. "Mum, I'm getting married!" Cynthia exclaimed happily, returning home after another date with her beloved. "Oh, my goodness!" The woman even trembled in place upon hearing this news. "Is it true, my dear?" "Of course, Mummy. I even have an engagement ring." The girl proudly extended her hand to her mother, showing her the gift from Barry. "Everything is real, as you can see. Yes, I know that according to tradition, everything is done differently. He was supposed to come to visit us, ask you and Dad for my hand and heart, and only then make an official proposal. But we couldn't wait. Today, celebrating the day of our acquaintance, our feelings stirred so much inside us that we decided it's not worth delaying. We need to get married, start a family, have children and be the happiest." "That's commendable, of course, Cynthia," the woman said, embracing her daughter. "You are young, in love with each other, not foolish, capable and hard-working. I think everything will work out for you. The only thing I can say from my own experience is that relationships always require effort. Well, I mean, having feelings is not enough, my dear. You need to grow together spiritually. Do you understand? Life throws us all kinds of adventures at times. We shouldn't be afraid of them. On the contrary, in difficult moments, people should come together, defy everything, and move forward." "Mum, thank you, of course, for the advice," the girl gently began. "I will definitely take it into account, but I think it won't be necessary for us. From the very beginning of our relationship, Barry and I agreed on everything." "What, exactly, if it's not a secret?" The mother looked at her daughter with tenderness. "Well, we've sworn to discuss everything openly, not to hide any feelings, and to be open with each other. And of course, to be loyal and dedicated to our choice. Every day we must choose each other anew. Understand? We're going to surprise, delight, and love each other. I think that in that case, everything will be fine." "Of course it will, Cynthia." In a short time, the young couple tied the knot. Wanting to become independent and self-reliant as soon as possible, they rented a tiny apartment. "And how do you see our family in the future, say 10 years from now?" Cynthia looked affectionately at Barry. The man smiled. "I can imagine how we solved all our financial problems and became completely free and independent. We have our own apartment, cosy and spacious. Just imagine, Cynthia, how great it will be, and of course, we will realize our potential and earn a decent living. I will take care of everything else, so you focus on family matters. And of course, we have children. I am sure we will be great parents." "How wonderful that sounds," whispered the girl with tears of happiness in her eyes. "I would very much like for everything to come true." Whether Barry was such a lucky man, whose dreams really have a way of coming true, or the right actions brought the desired results, but after a while, the couple's lives began to improve rapidly. Barry found a job at a promising company where his skills were finally appreciated. Cynthia also took a risk and left her old job, where success seemed unlikely. Her new position did not promise riches, of course, but it offered the potential for growth. And isn't that the most important thing? Around the same time, the couple obtained their own apartment, albeit through a mortgage, but it was their own. Oh, how happy they were when they first entered their new home, bright, spacious, and so cosy. Despite the fact that there was almost nothing inside, and that proper investment was needed for quality repairs, all of this seemed like minor details in life, especially when they remembered where they had started their journey. A little later, Cynthia found out that she was pregnant. The long-awaited news brought Cynthia and Barry even closer together. They both smiled and thanked God for blessing them with a baby at just the right moment. Mark, a boy with blonde hair and big eyes, was born on time and completely changed his parents' lives. From the moment of his birth, he was a restless baby who constantly tested his parents' patience. However, even through the most challenging and sleepless nights, Barry and Cynthia found happiness. Mark, the result of their great and pure love, was truly a precious gift. When Mark turned 1 year old, a terrible event occurred. Barry got into an accident. That day would be etched into Cynthia's memory forever. She went with her son for a walk, feeling calm and relaxed. After all, what could go wrong? Mark's troubling cough had finally disappeared, and Cynthia could finally get a good night's sleep. During lunchtime, her husband had promised to come home and pick up some important documents. A meal prepared with love was waiting patiently on the stove for him. However, everything changed instantly with one phone call. Cynthia received the shocking news that Barry had been in a serious accident and was in critical condition. At first she couldn't believe it, but she continued the conversation with the caller, trying to understand every word carefully. And then the realization came, so terrible and heavy. Overwhelmed with grief, Cynthia collapsed to the ground, feeling as if she had lost her mind. If it hadn't been for Mark, who was by her side, she didn't know what would have happened next. With the support of her parents, Cynthia managed to gather herself and go to the hospital, where she got answers to all her questions. The accident had nearly taken the life of her beloved husband. Unfortunately, the doctors couldn't provide any positive prognosis, simply shrugging their shoulders and referring to the will of God. They did their best to help him recover, but the future was uncertain. The injuries were severe and his spine was also affected. "I'm sorry for you. You know, it's a difficult situation," the doctor said sympathetically. "I understand," Cynthia whispered in a trembling voice, still struggling to comprehend the reality of the situation. "But I believe he will overcome this. He will regain consciousness soon. He'll come back to us. We have a family, a child. Barry will endure anything for us." "We will do everything we can, I promise. But his spine has been injured, and it is likely to have an impact." No, he will walk. Don't doubt it. Barry is a strong man. He will manage, you'll see." The doctors were amazed by this fragile woman. Her faith in the best immense love, care and positive attitude couldn't leave anyone indifferent. Oh, if everyone had such strong support, how wonderful it would be. Fortunately, Barry was soon able to come to his senses and start full treatment. It required great effort, time and resources for the man to somewhat return to his previous life. It was painful, scary, and sometimes so difficult that he wanted to give up. But Cynthia's support didn't allow him to do so. Perhaps his wife acted as a guardian angel for him during that period. That's when Barry promised himself that he would remember what Cynthia did for him for the rest of his life. How could he forget such a thing? No, he definitely made the right choice once. And when Cynthia learned about her second pregnancy, unexpected but still pleasant and joyful, she realized that everything in this world happens for a reason. By that time, Mark had grown up and needed the company of a little brother or sister, and so another little boy, who looked very much like Barry, came into the world. "Oh God, Barry, what happiness!" Cynthia whispered happily, putting her son in the crib. "We have 2 adorable children now. Mark is already 5 years old, and Johnny is only a month old. It feels like we have always been there for each other. Right? How beautifully everything has turned out in our lives." "And this is just the beginning, Cynthia. Just the beginning." After washing the last cup, Cynthia turned off the water and sighed heavily. "I should stop recalling the past," the woman said aloud. "If I keep remembering our family life, I won't make it until morning. Perhaps a double dose of sedatives won't hurt today." After putting the children to bed and preparing for rest, Cynthia, with tired legs, made her way to the bedroom, and barely laying her head on the pillow, fell into a deep sleep. Probably fatigue and tension, combined with the sedatives, did their job. Mum, are you asleep?" Mark shook Cynthia's shoulders in alarm. "What?" The woman barely came to her senses. Her head was pounding with tremendous force, and everything around her was blurry. She didn't feel good. "Why did you wake up so early?" "Isn't it time to get ready for school?" the boy said skeptically and pointed at the clock. "It might be late." "Did we oversleep?" Cynthia decisively got up from the bed, but feeling dizzy, she returned to her previous position. "Mum, is something hurting you?" Mark seemed to notice every little detail. "No, everything is fine," Cynthia smiled weakly, and realizing that she couldn't handle everything on her own today, she decided to ask for help. "Hand me the phone, please. I want to invite your grandma over." Half an hour later, the frightened and worried woman arrived to help her daughter. Seeing her condition, she seemed to understand what had happened, but she didn't want to pry. First, she needed to help with her grandchildren. After preparing a quick breakfast, feeding and getting the boys ready, the grandmother practically ran them to the educational institution, and then, feeling considerably calmer, returned to her daughter. "Come on, Cynthia. Tell me what happened." Sitting on the bed, she asked gently, "Did you check your blood pressure? You look pale. If your head is spinning, maybe it's a seizure, huh? You had a hard time with headaches, my dear. And I always told you to seek treatment, to continue the examination, and not to neglect your health. But have you listened to me? You always think about others, never about yourself. I got nervous, apparently, Cynthia whispered in response. I took a large dose of sedatives at night. Maybe it has an effect like this. I don't know, Mum. Thank you for coming. You saved me. If it weren't for you... Cynthia's voice trembled, and unexpectedly for herself, she burst into tears. Honey, the woman tried to keep calm. First, let's measure your blood pressure. You'll take a pill if needed, and then we'll talk about everything. All right? Health comes first, don't forget. After about an hour, when the blood pressure had slightly subsided and Cynthia felt much better, the conversation about the important matter resumed. Now, let's get back to the reason for your tears, my dear. The woman sighed heavily. Did you have a fight? Is that why you're so upset? Darling, you're wasting your energy on nonsense. In married life, all sorts of things happen. Have you forgotten? He has another woman, Cynthia said dryly, lowering her eyes. What? The woman nervously laughed. Our Barry has another woman? That can't happen, Cynthia. I couldn't believe it at first either. Cynthia sadly smiled. But yesterday he confessed everything to me. Wow! How long have they been dating? I don't know, Mum. I didn't ask. Cynthia laughed bitterly. It doesn't really matter how long they've been together. What matters is how happy and in love he looks. Apparently it's a big hit. Mum, can I be honest? I'm in so much pain. I don't know how to go on. I was thinking yesterday about... Stop that right now, her mother sternly ordered, without even listening to her daughter. I never want to hear such terrible things from you again. Betrayal of a loved one is a real tragedy, no doubt, especially when it happens completely unexpectedly. To be honest, I couldn't even imagine such a thing. Believe me, I'm as shocked as you are. But daughter, my darling, you can't give up. You can't give up. Do you hear me? You have someone to hold on to. And Barry, we don't know what pushed him into this sinful affair. Maybe he couldn't control himself and gave in to temptation. Or maybe he had some kind of crisis. Don't forget what he went through in the past. He barely made it out. Then Johnny was born. One thing after another, you know, it all affects everything. It's so stressful. No, I'm not justifying cheating and betrayal. I find it repulsive too. I'm just trying to make a clear assessment of the situation. Consider different options and find a reason. To find a reason, Cynthia grinned. You won't believe this. I've been doing that for 24 hours. I'm going over everything in my head, remembering our family life, trying to figure out what I did wrong. Tears welled up in Cynthia's eyes. That's what makes it so hard. I felt with every fibre of my being that I was needed, important and loved. It seemed that after 13 years of marriage, having given birth to 2 children, we were inseparable. It seemed that our marriage was unbreakable. It turns out it isn't. Have you had any problems lately? Or didn't you notice anything at all? Did everything happen so suddenly? That's just it, Mum. We haven't had any obvious problems. At least I didn't notice any. Yes, the last few years of our lives have been difficult. You make a good point about the terrible accident and the birth of our second child. Yes, Barry has had a difficult time. For a long time, he snapped at me and wanted to give up, tired of the grueling process of recovery. But then he calmed down and apologised. They often say that women feel everything and notice everything. And I, so busy with the kids and the house, missed that moment. Can you imagine? Barry himself asked me not to go to work anymore, and now he scolded me for that. Me, the woman who put so much effort, energy and love into him, neglecting her health. Is that fair? Huh? And now I'm thinking, when he used to come home tired and dissatisfied, citing work and some failures in his professional sphere was the real reason in her? I guess so. The mother agreed. And I, a fool, tried to talk, worried about my husband's moral state. I tried to find out the cause and somehow help, but it was all in vain. I wonder why he didn't leave right away. Did he feel sorry for us? Or was he unsure of his choice? Oh, Mum, how am I going to get through this? How am I supposed to deal with the kids alone? How do I help them in this situation? I don't understand anything. My head is spinning. Cynthia, honey, the woman said, literally feeling her daughter's state and barely restraining herself from crying with her. First, you need to calm down. Try to shut off your emotions and think about the essentials. Plan for what you need to do in the near future. It will make things easier, believe me. Since Barry has already left the house taking some of his things, let him do it. There's no need for unnecessary fussing. Before that, let him come to the kids. Explain his position to them. There's nothing for you to blame yourself for. You are the son's parents, first and foremost. You shouldn't forget that. Then, let him file for divorce, since he's made up his mind, and then it'll be easier. Believe me, when this process starts slowly, some clarity will come. You know, there's nothing worse than uncertainty in life. So, you'll grieve, get hurt, and calm down. At least you'll know the truth, and that's easier. Divide the property according to all the rules. He won't leave you penniless. That's a good thing too. If you need any help, your father and I are here for you, Cynthia. Don't worry about him alone. The most important thing is to regain your composure, become independent, and start looking for a job. Remember how much you enjoyed working for your company, and you always loved your profession, until family life took over. Now is the time to remember all of that. I'm so scared, Mum. It feels like the ground has been pulled out from under me, like my heart has been ripped out of my chest, like my past life has been erased and no new one has been provided. And what do you want, dear? It's like a stepping out of your comfort zone in some way, and that's always painful, difficult and stressful. How could it be otherwise? But you're young and strong. You'll endure, you'll overcome, and I believe in you. And as for Barry, God is his judge. If he didn't appreciate such a good woman by his side, if he betrayed and stumbled, let him go his own way. Many men do that, unfortunately. They drain the life out of their wives, use her help and support to stand on their feet, and then start looking elsewhere. As if they forget who they were from the very beginning. Who should be idolized and loved until the end of their lives? Foolish, isn't it? They think their new girlfriend will provide them with constant, unforgettable emotions and won't ask for anything in return. I've seen many cases like that in my life, but in the end, most of them are disappointed with their choice. They start to yearn and beg to come back to their wives. And then it's up to the woman to decide. What would you do, Cynthia? The woman looked at her daughter attentively. Me? Cynthia thought for a moment. I would forgive him, Mum, because I love him very much, and I can't imagine my life without him. A couple of months passed. Well, congratulations on officially becoming a free woman, Barry said with a smile when he finally got divorced. I hope you don't hold a grudge against me. God knows when we first met I was the happiest man in the world, and we had many good and wonderful moments during our marriage. I remember everything. And I congratulate you, Cynthia abruptly interrupted, no longer able to listen to the sweet speeches of her former spouse. Parting from her beloved man was extremely painful for the woman. While she managed to get through the days by keeping herself busy with additional responsibilities to avoid thinking about Barry, but at night she let her emotions run free, crying a lot and carefully analysing the events. At first, Cynthia tried to cope with the pain of loss on her own, but after realising how difficult it was for her, she sought professional help. She also sought guidance on how to support her children through their parents' divorce and make their situation easier. With the support of her mother and father, Cynthia gradually regained her composure and started looking for a job. Barry, of course, provided financial assistance, but he did so very reluctantly. Surprisingly, perhaps his new partner required a significant investment in herself. Or maybe the man was facing difficulties in his professional life again. No one knew the truth. Cynthia, of course, did not hinder communication between her sons and their father. On the contrary, she was sincerely happy when the children became a little happier and spent more joyful time with their close and dear man. "Well, how was the interview?" Cynthia's mother asked her as soon as she returned home. "Oh, it went beautifully, Mum. Can you believe it? They hired me. I don't know if it was my resume and past achievements that impressed them, or if the director was just understanding, or if it was simply a good day, but they hired me." "What good news!" The mother smiled. "My congratulations. Life is getting better, isn't it?" If only one job could make life better. Cynthia became sad again. Her heart still ached with terrible pain. "Time, daughter. Everything takes its time. Trust me." "Cynthia, aren't you going home yet?" a colleague asked in surprise. "It's already the end of the day." "Yes, I know." The woman smiled slightly. "I just decided to stay a little longer today. I need to double-check some documents. You know, things have been a mess lately." "I'm amazed by your attentiveness and responsibility," the colleague softly responded. "Honestly, I'm overjoyed that our company gained such a valuable employee 5 years ago. You have a lot of energy and diligence. I hope you know that. But please don't stay too long. After all, the kids are waiting at home, and you need to rest." "Thank you for your kind words." Cynthia was very pleased to hear such things said to her. Over the years, she had never once regretted joining this company. It had its difficult moments, of course, and sometimes felt incomprehensible, but overall, it was definitely worth it. After double-checking the last document and placing it in the folder, the woman smiled and breathed a sigh of relief. She straightened her shoulders and did a little exercise for her stiff back, a result of her sedentary lifestyle. She then turned off her laptop, switched off the light, gathered her belongings and stepped outside. The weather was simply wonderful, and her mood noticeably improved. "Cynthia! Well, you're finally free." A familiar voice suddenly sounded nearby. The voice of someone she couldn't easily forget. "It's me. Didn't you recognise me?" "Barry?" Cynthia whispered, struggling to look at her former spouse. They hadn't seen each other for several years, ever since the man decided to entirely change his life and move to another city. "What are you doing here? Why?" "I was looking for a chance to meet with you," Barry began awkwardly. "And actually, yes, I came back to my hometown. Our climate suits me better, and, well..." The man approached his former wife, his warm breath reaching her. And the scent. A scent she thought she had forgotten. Cynthia covered her eyes, desperately wishing to return to reality. "What do you think you're doing?" Cynthia asked sternly. "Did you have a fight with your beloved and decide to come running back? Did you think you could just disappear like that and then announce your presence in my life again? Do you think I've been waiting for you all this time?" "Cynthia, I was a fool," Barry said, looking straight into his former spouse's eyes. "I made the wrong choices in my life. I left and betrayed the most important people in the world. I don't know what came over me. It was like I was blindly driving. Can you hear me? I realised my mistake just in time. I know it's incredibly difficult to forgive. I understand that the hurt and pain will linger for a long time. But please, give me a chance to make things right. There's so much to try to compromise on. We've been through so much together. We have children after all. I deeply regret leaving my boys without a father's attention and involvement. I want to come back. I want to earn your trust again. Yes, I stumbled. You saved me once before. You were almost like my guardian angel. Save me again, please. Give me a helping hand. I really need you. I love you, and... That's enough, Cynthia whispered. Barry, that's enough. I can't listen to this. It hurts. Do you hear me? Just stop, for God's sake, and go away. Please, go away. You won't even give me a chance to make amends? Barry exclaimed, bewildered. Make amends? Do you really think, Barry, that life is so simple? Do you want to hear the truth? I loved you, and I loved you with sincere and pure love. I believed in you and our family until the very end. I even forgot about myself at times, giving everything I had to you. I thought it was right, logical, and natural. I'm a wife and a mother. What else could I be? But there was one thing I didn't consider then. Excessive love and care from a woman can sometimes work against her, making her dependent and vulnerable. It would be great if her husband realised this and never betrayed her. On the contrary, he changes the situation, lightens her load, helps her reintegrate into society, and is always there for her, loving and appreciating her. In our case, you did something terrible. You betrayed me. It was so cruel and disgusting. You completely disregarded our family, disregarded the happy years we had together, and put your own comfort and pleasure above all else. Do you remember how you left? How did you savour every word that hurt me so deeply? How you repeatedly humiliated me by telling me colourful stories about your feelings for another woman, comparing and devaluing me. And what about the children? Have you ever thought about how hard it has been for them all this time? Yes, people make mistakes, but not all mistakes, Barry, can be undone. Once upon a time, I believed that I would forgive you. Honestly, every night before going to bed, I prayed for reconciliation and for my husband to return to our family. Why? Because I loved you and couldn't imagine life without you. And now, when it seems like I have achieved what I wanted, when you are standing here next to me, tearfully asking for forgiveness, I know I can't. This betrayal has wounded my soul so deeply that it's irreparable. So, Barry, don't come here anymore. Don't seek a meeting. Your guardian angel is gone forever. Now, you have to deal with everything on your own. Having said that, Cynthia turned and walked away, her head held proudly high. She felt avenged.